Hello everyone, I'm Kathy from House of TOEFL, and today we're going to be talking about the biggest mistakes students make on the TOEFL in terms of their grammar. Now don't run away, because grammar is actually very important and you can lose points on the speaking and writing, and I know the speaking and writing are very important to a lot of you, and I want to go over some of the biggest mistakes that I see you guys make. Remember, I've been teaching TOEFL for 10 years. That's a long time. So of course, I've noticed patterns. I've edited a lot of essays, thousands and thousands of speaking evaluations. And of course, I've noticed the mistakes that people most commonly make. And believe it or not, it's actually quite simple. I'm talking about subject-verb agreement errors. Now, it does get a little more complicated than that, but I'll be going over a lot of that today, and hopefully you won't make these mistakes anymore. Okay. First and foremost, your subjects and verbs must agree. So let's start with some simple examples. Whales swim in the open ocean. The professor provides an example. The woman thinks this is a good idea. The man supports the opinion in the letter. Now, so far I've been making a s sound, right? Thinks, supports. Here's a couple where there's more of a z sound. The professor disagrees with the letter. The man realizes he made a mistake. Now, you have to make a very strong sound on the TOEFL. Just make sure you make that sound. I have a lot of students that tell me they think they made the sound when I didn't hear it. And if I didn't hear it, the ETS is not going to hear it. And it's such a simple mistake to make. Now, let's look at a couple of others. The students believe that this will not work for two reasons. Students, of course, is plural, so no S on believe. My friend and I were. Now, my friend and I is what's called a compound subject. It's technically two people, so it's technically plural, which is why it's were instead of was. The professor and his student were discussing. For the same reason, it's a compound subject. Now, the same rule applies to there is and there are. Now, this seems obvious, but please remember, these are the mistakes I see over and over again, even in the most advanced students. There is correct when the subject is singular. There are is used when the subject is plural. For example, despite his enthusiasm for the plan, there are many things to consider. There is a strong sense of trust in an honest relationship. If anyone objects, there is a time and a place to state your opinion. For the current procedure to be done, there is a protocol in place. At our university, there are a number of problems that need to be dealt with. There is an infinite universe outside of our planet, and there is a lot of information we still need to learn about it. Now, I use information here because it's non-count, something I'm going to talk about right now. Non-count nouns are singular, and they should be treated as such, okay? So for example, there is a lot of food on the table that is getting cold. Food is singular because it's non-count. I like coffee, but sometimes there is too much sugar in it. Sugar and coffee are both non-count. Whenever I need to write a paper for class, I use the internet because there is a lot of research available online. Research is non-count. There is some advice you should follow. Advice is non-count. Now, I put a little picture of a refrigerator here. It's kind of silly, but I want to make a point. You would actually say there is cheese in the refrigerator and there are eggs in the refrigerator. Why the difference? Well, cheese is non-count and eggs is count. And as you can see, there are several eggs. So it would be there are eggs. Now, gerunds can be used as subjects. You probably know what a gerund is, but just really quickly, it's a verb plus ing, but grammatically it's a noun. But you have to remember it's singular. You can use it as a subject of your sentence. That's great. You can do that in the writing for sure. But just remember it's singular. So for example, traveling abroad has been the most interesting experience of my life. Learning a new language is difficult. Buying clothes online has both advantages and disadvantages. Reading is a hobby that is very rewarding for both parents and children. Having extra money in the bank makes a person feel more comfortable and calm. Notice the S on makes because having is singular. Doing chores teaches children many skills they will learn later in life. And notice doing chores teaches children many skills they will use later in life. Teaches, ES, because doing is singular. Now, With the negative, students make mistakes as well. They use don't or doesn't sometimes in the wrong way. So if it's singular, it's doesn't. The man doesn't agree, the student doesn't think, the woman doesn't want, the professor doesn't agree, the child doesn't have. I love cereal, but my daughter doesn't eat it. She enjoys the piano, but her family doesn't play at all. The boys want to start a soccer team, but Tom's mother doesn't approve. Do not use don't, okay? Now, more importantly, for TOEFL level students, you have to remember non-count nouns. These, again, are singular. So regular milk spoils quickly, but powdered milk doesn't. Because milk, it's non-count, so it's singular. I voted to buy us new uniforms, but the team doesn't agree. Team is a collective noun, and I will be talking about that in a moment. These are also singular. But first, let's start with these words, which are also singular. Everybody, everything, everyone, nobody, somebody, anyone, every, each. These are actually singular, and they should be treated as singular nouns when you conjugate them. Nobody wants to attend the conference. Somebody has my notes for class. Everybody agrees with the professor's assignment. Anyone is allowed to attend the meeting. Each student is allowed to talk for 2 minutes. Every researcher has made the same mistake. Either answer is correct. Okay, so now we move on to collective nouns. Now, these seem like they would be plural because they're usually a lot of people or a lot of animals, but we consider them singular, I suppose because they move in a mass. They move collectively. So they're like one unit, okay? I'm talking about the words colony, army, team, audience, family, group, and class. Now, there's more and you can look them up, but these are the ones most likely to come up on the TOEFL test. Okay, so the class doesn't want to do the assignment. The team has gotten new jackets. The colony builds a nest during the summer. The audience has purchased tickets in advance. The family is planning to take a vacation. The group studies biology every evening at 6 o'clock. The crew is preparing for launch. Okay, those are all singular. So, have is for plural nouns and has is for singular nouns. Now, for TOEFL students, this mistake is especially prominent or noticeable when it's an irregular plural noun, okay? So it seems obvious, but these irregular plurals like children and people, sometimes my students do make mistakes even at the advanced TOEFL level. So let's look at some examples. The children have gone with their teacher to a museum. The men have been building a new cell phone tower. It has been noted that mice have exhibited a fear of elephants. Mice is plural. Remember, it's one mouse, 2 mice. In Western culture, women have traditionally worked in educational fields. This one's for my dentists out there. His teeth have become tarnished from smoking and drinking. Teeth, that's plural. It's one tooth and then more than one, it's teeth, like 2 teeth. The indigenous people have survived through difficult periods in history. His feet have been injured on hikes numerous times. Feet is plural. It's 1 foot, 2 feet. Okay. Now, non-count nouns, so crucial. Non-count nouns are singular and they cannot be used with a plural verb. The most common mistakes I see in essay corrections are that students forget that the following nouns are non-count: advice, research, information. Of course, these are common TOEFL words, but please remember they're singular. Do not put an S on them. Do not use a or un before these nouns. Why? Why can't you say unadvice? Because a and un mean one, and you can only use them with count nouns that are singular. But advice, research, information, these are non-count nouns. Very, very important. So you would say, he gave me some advice, not advices. My professor is doing a lot of research, not researches. There is a lot of information on the internet, not informations, okay? Now remember, all non-count nouns can be made plural, but there are special rules. Like you can write several pieces of advice, many types of research, different kinds of information. Those are some examples. It depends what you're trying to say. Basically, we can break non-count nouns into count nouns, but you just have to know how to do it. Okay, so that brings us to the end of our short grammar lesson. I am Kathy from House of TOEFL, and you can find me at my website, www.houseoftoefl.com, where you can see all my other videos and the services that I offer. So please feel free to visit my website. Thank you for watching this short video, and hopefully you won't make these mistakes again. And again, thank you and good luck on your test. Have a wonderful weekend and a wonderful day.